What's up, you guys? Austin Marks here. Today I'm going to be talking about what it's like for me working a night shift as a respiratory therapist. So these are my experiences. I hope it helps you guys out, get a little bit of an idea of what an RT may do when they work a night shift. So when I was in school, we didn't do any clinicals at night, so I had no idea what it was like working night shift. So I knew as a new respiratory therapist, I was most likely going to get a night shift position. So I had no idea. So I jumped right into it and I kind of just learned from experience. I mean, I had people guide me and I really appreciate that. I'm thankful for my team. So I'm creating this video to help give you guys a bit of an idea of what I do as a respiratory therapist on night shift. So like any job, you get your supply and demand. Your patients are your demand and your respiratory therapists are your supply. So therefore, depending on the workload, depending on the demand, that'll vary on how many respiratory therapists we have. Generally, we'll have 3 or 4 compared to days where there will be 7 or 8. Now, with this being said, things get a little hectic with only 3 or 4. I mean, the workload isn't quite as crazy, but if there are things such as traumas, rapid responses, or code teams, there's only 3 or 4 of us, and sometimes the other respiratory therapists are busy, so you gotta think on your feet and go ahead and do it yourself. This was a little bit new experience to me when I just started working as a respiratory therapist, because I kind of wanted someone there to guide me. However, I really had to think on my feet and just kind of go with it, you know? I mean, I knew what I knew. I was just nerves. As a night shift respiratory therapist, I will distribute the units. So one respiratory therapist will get the cardiovascular intensive care unit, one will get the ER, and one will get the ICU. And then we'll split up the floors between us, unless there's another respiratory therapist there, and we have 4, then they'll get the floors, and we all get our units. So with this being said, it can be crazy one night, or it can be kind of slow. It goes back to that supply and demand. Last night, my night was super crazy. I ran around the whole night. I got a 15-minute lunch break. It was insane. So let me go ahead and tell you guys about that. So I got there around 10:30. I received a report. Then I started to head up to the unit. I had the ICU. So I had 7 vent patients. I knew that I had a huge workload. I had to care for each one. However, I was up there for 15 to 20 minutes, and then I got a page to go down to the trauma bay because we had a level 1 trauma coming in. This dude came in. He had 13 stab wounds all the way on his chest, his abdomen, everything. He was a bloody mess. He was intubated in the field, so he came in. The EMTs going ahead, handed him right over to me. I hooked him to my vent. The attending physician decided that this patient needed to go to the OR so they could stitch him up. He was just bleeding everywhere. He got stabbed in the heart. He had some cardiac tamponade going on. They'd repair his right ventricle, his spleen, all kinds of things. Well, anyway, me knowing I had the ICU, I knew exactly where this patient was going. 13 stab wounds. I mean, come on now. So I had to go finish my workload. So I ran back up to the ICU. I started working on my patients. I figured, okay, I'm going to knock this out. Wrong. Nothing goes ever as planned. So patient had some problems. I had to readjust, make sure that they were comfortable, that they weren't coughing anything up, they were synchronizing with their ventilator, things of that sort. I gave them meds, checked on them, make sure the ET tube was in the correct place. I did an ABG, arterial blood gas. So this is generally what I do in the ICU, is I'll just check on my patients, make sure that they're comfortable, make sure everything's okay. So I got through rounds. And then this guy came rolling out of the OR, the guy that got stabbed 13 times. So I knew I had to attend to him. So therefore, he's in the room, and where they're doing our thing, hooking up to the vent, getting an ABG, securing the endotracheal tube, things of that sort. So this is one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced. So as I said, he was stabbed all the way up on his chest, his abdomen, everything. So they took him to OR. They basically cut him open from his sternum all the way down to a little bit below his belly button. And when he came back to the room, he had about a 1-inch gap, like right here, all the way down. You could see everything in. However, there was a covering over it to help prevent an infection because he's in the ICU. We're going to be checking on him consistently, nurses, doctors, PAs, anyone who's in there. So we're going to make sure that he doesn't get infected. Well, we're in there, we're doing our thing, and the dude's on pretty severe pain meds. I mean, I'd want to be as well. However, one thing I thought was really cool was he was with it. He knew exactly what we were doing. He was watching me, the nurses, just do our thing, trying to get him comfortable and whatnot. So then, chest x-ray came in, or the x-ray tech, and they got a chest x-ray, and we noticed that the endotracheal tube was not down quite as far as it needed to be, so therefore I had to go move the tube down a little bit. And I thought this was crazy. He was just staring at me the whole time and giving me the look like, come on dude, this freaking hurts. Totally understandable, but with my whole experience with that, I just thought it was awesome how he was just with it, you know? Well, anyway, I was with him for about an hour and a half, and then I jumped over to my vent patients because the round started again, so I had to take care of them. Now, I said I had 7 vent patients. I had patients who had all kinds of disease processes, all kinds of things going on with them. So I had pancreatitis, a patient who had sepsis, another dude who had a giant hemorrhagic stroke, so huge brain bleed, and another dude who got hit by a tractor trailer, one who fell off a roof, hit his head, neuro issues, all kinds of things. As a respiratory therapist, yes, we deal with the heart and lungs. However, we gotta know exactly what's going on with the rest of the body as well, because the heart and lungs are the heart and lungs of the body. They deal with everything. So therefore, you gotta have a broad knowledge of how everything works. So this is my crazy night. I did my rounds, and then after that, I had to do ABGs on several patients. The doctors will typically order these around 5:30. That way they can see what's going on with the patient. That way when they come in the morning and start their rounds, they see exactly what the chemistry is like as the patient. They can look at all their labs. That way we can start a weaning on the patient, try and get them off the ventilator, or the doctor can make any other decisions. They want to start any new medications, any things of that sort. So I went ahead and did that. I got finished doing all my arterial blood gases around, 6 o'clock. I came down, I sat down for about 10 minutes before the rest of the respiratory therapist came on for day shift. I gave report, and then I was out the door. Crazy night. Like I said, I got about 15 minutes to eat. The rest of the time, I was on the move. This kind of made the night go a lot quicker, especially since I worked a 16-hour shift. So I started at 2:30, and then my night shift started around 10:30. So I worked from 2:30 in the afternoon till 6:30 or so in the morning. It was a long day. Not every hospital does this. I'm going to make another video talking about the hours that you work as a respiratory therapist. Generally, they'll give you free range, your hospital will. So this was the crazy night. The ugly. So I'm going to give you the good, the ugly, and the bad. So that was kind of like the ugly. It was nuts. So it's not always that busy. Some weeks when we don't have a very large workload, we may only have one patient in the ICU and a couple of patients on the floors, and the ER is just dead. There's no one in there. So with this kind of night, we'll be done in like an hour and a half for first rounds anyhow. We'll go up, we'll do our thing, and then we'll come back, and it's kind of just a relaxing night per se. Generally, I do homework on these kind of nights, and I don't know, they're nice every once in a while. So, what do we do if we have the ER or the floors? So I'm going to start out with the ER. The ER is basically as a needed basis. Obviously, you're not going to be down there if there are no patients. So typically, we will give the ER RT a floor or two, and that way they can hook their patients up to CPAP or BiPAP, and they can just check on them throughout the night. But then they also have the ER, so if a patient comes in for whatever reason, COPD, exacerbation, asthma exacerbation, whatever, they can go down and do that. We don't give them a huge workload because we never know how the ER is going to be. And then for the floor patients, we will, they're generally just CPAP, BiPAPs. So Patients who have obstructive sleep apnea, we'll go ahead hook them up to that. We'll maybe recommend them for a sleep study, anything of that sort. We can also do nocturnal oximetry, so we'll measure their oxygen throughout their sleeping to see if they maybe need a CPAP, maybe need oxygen while they're sleeping. We also will be basically PRN treatments. We give them a lot. If Sorry, I'm saying a lot. The nurses will call us throughout the night if a patient wakes up, he's having shortness of breath, he just isn't doing so hot. So they'll call us, and then we'll come check out the patient, evaluate them, give them a breathing treatment most times. They'll feel better, and they go right back to bed. We also will check on our patients who are on the CPAP BiPAP throughout the night, make sure their oxygenation is good, just make sure that they're sleeping okay, just jot their settings down, keep a close eye on them, you know? That's typically how respiratory therapists work at night. I mean, this is my experience. It's going to be different in a different hospital. If your hospital's bigger, smaller, maybe you don't have a trauma bay, maybe you don't have as many ICUs. Every hospital is different. It's not always going to be the same. This is my experience to hopefully give you guys a rough idea of what it's going to be like. Now, of course, it's going to be different if you work strictly in pediatric or the NICU. You may be in the NICU all day. My hospital also has the NICU, so sometimes we'll get called up there. It's a level 3, so it's not very big. Generally, nothing too crazy goes on up there. Night shift is a beast itself. It takes a huge toll on your body. At first, anyhow. I mean, your body adjusts to it eventually, but typically we don't stay up all night. So, lots of coffee, lots of energy drinks. You know how it goes. As I said, I worked a 16-hour shift. I slept 14 hours today. My body just doesn't cope too well yet with it. I've been a night shifter for 3 months. Now I work mainly evenings, but then I'll throw in nights here and there. It all depends. So this is my experience. I hope it helps you guys out. If you're a respiratory therapist and you have any experience as a night shifter, your experience was different than mine, if you want to go ahead and leave a comment, jot some stuff down, hoping to help other therapists just have a general idea of what night shifters like. So anyhow, guys, go ahead, smash that like button, smash that subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.